Welcome to the first installment of Agile Olympics. I have never heard of anything as crazy as this from any Australian, but I have a Dutchman here tonight to introduce us to the Agile Olympics. He's come all the way from Holland, the Netherlands apparently, to teach us about this. He's promised me he is not stoned. Okay, he's had a week to get that out of his system. Are you permanently stoned?
No.
No. Okay.
You know, we talked about this. I never ever smoked.
See, he's so stoned. He says he's a Dutchman that's never tried ganja. Okay, excellent. So Jesse is a Agile consultant with Avanade. He is one of the top champs on the TFS list. He is a professional Scrum trainer as well. And tonight, I'm just going to make sure I get this in on my beautiful selfie stick. But tonight, we are going to have a very unusual user group. So make sure we've got the strangest setup. I can't even get everyone in. My selfie stick isn't good enough. But this is the most unusual user group we've ever done, and we'll see if it pans out. But let me hand it over to Jesse.
All right. So welcome everyone. So we're gonna be playing the Agile Bowl game. Then we're gonna do a variation on the musical chair dance. Then we're gonna calm down a little bit because the temperature is going to be really hot in here, even hotter than it is right now. So we're going to do a little retrospective game, which is called the Agile Sailboat, or the Sailboat Retrospective. And we're going to end tonight with you guys building a miniature city with Legos. So Adam would manage to procure 9 kilograms of Lego blocks for you guys to play with tonight. We've got 200 playpen balls. And whiteboards all around. So for me, this is a very usual setup of any room, Adam. I'm not sure what you... So, this game is all about learning in fast cycles. And it involves a lot of balls that we have here. So, I'm going to explain the rules to you very simply. We need to get all the balls from basket A into basket B. You guys have to each hold every individual ball. But there's a couple of rules. So the balls are not allowed to touch the ground at any point in time. That's one. Only the balls that actually end up in the target container count. So balls that are still in flight don't count to the end goal. You need to be able to report the number of balls at the end. So that's important. And this is a tricky one. I probably have to explain by standing next to you. So can you stand next to me? I am not allowed to pass any ball to anybody that's sitting either on the right of me or that's standing on the left of me. But I am allowed to pass them like this or to pass them like Troy directly to you because you're not standing directly next to me. So these are the very basic rules. We're going to try this a couple of times because the first time is probably not going to work the best.
What's the last rule? Balls?
So they need to have airtime. You cannot give somebody a ball. I can give you a ball, right? So we're not allowed to touch one ball at the same point in time.
It must be thrown.
It must be thrown or dropped or something. All right? So everybody please get up. You are a team. Everybody is a team, right? So this is going to be interesting. There is a variation that we can try if you want to, and that's that if we split you guys in two, and then a couple of you have to wait outside, and I'm going to explain to you guys what's going to happen to you guys. You want to do that? It's up to you. You're a self-organizing team.
Start big first.
Yeah, start big.
All right, start big first. All right, so you've got the balls. They need to go into the other basket. Everybody needs to touch them. You know the rules. So how do you want to set up? All right, do it.
One person at the end to count as they go in.
Yeah. So can we just throw them?
No, you gotta go through. Then we'll do that all the way around. So we'll form like two lines, we'll loop around. And the last guy counts.
Now move around to everything.
Are you starting?
Move around now to everything.
No, we're not yet starting.
Better to drop and throw.
Another way of doing it.
All right. So you guys figured it out? So
There's a definition of done right.
Why can't we do it both directions?
There's a way to go.
Yeah,
all right.
that's probably.
You've got 2 minutes starting now.
Okay. Faster. Cross that bottleneck.
We have to toss the ball.
Faster.
But
You'll have to hold it. You'll have to hold it.
you're playing fast. Is that job?
It's gonna do it. Let's give it a
We can toss someone right in front of you. What we can do something to someone who he can give because he's on his left side.
Four at a time.
Hey, wake up, wake up.
My velocity's gone to zero. This is just terrible.
Hey, Gerard.
Who's counting?
Why can't we go both directions?
That'd be
Wake up.
Come jump. Let's go, Mom. Let's go. Sorry about that. It's gone. I've got plenty of bows.
You know, the problem is too many people with small hands.
We need baseball gloves. That's all we need.
That's our hands, man.
5,
Yeah.
4,
Good point.
3, 2, 1. All right.
21.
All right. So everybody, we have 21 balls in the basket. That is actually quite good for a first time with such a large group that you are. So you get 2 minutes to get all the balls back into that basket and to get a better strategy than this one. And you have to estimate how many balls you're going to get next time.
This first one was 21?
21.
Yeah, we need the rule. We need to read the rules again. Move. Who was counting?
I was counting.
Oh. Did you count 21?
21.
Alright. So I think we break up into small teams.
But everyone's gonna touch it. Everyone's gonna touch it.
Oh yeah.
We've only got 2 baskets, but we can use the top of the Lego first for organization.
I know. Somebody get on the web and Google a good way of doing this.
So, quick question. If we have the basket right, the basket isn't the ground. If each person puts their hand in, runs it round the basket, and then passes it the same way, we can do all the balls simultaneously.
Or you touch it at the end.
Yeah.
Just touch it at the end. You can't,
That way we
you
can just pass the basket around and use it as a safeguard for the ground.
Can we form like a bridge?
That's how you're going to
Can we
do it.
form like a rail?
Oh yeah.
So we just roll the ball down.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So everyone, not just one hand, just one hand. We're gonna optimize this thing. So everyone, so stick your hand out like that.
And we put a little cup and you just from high to low.
You have everyone. You need an ear time.
Everyone must touch each ball.
Yeah, but if we have it all in one big row,
Just pass it around. It works. We do all the balls simultaneously.
So you
we
have another minute to figure out what
we
you're
could
gonna
get
do.
done for fraud doing that.
So can I normally.
We start off with like 30, divide them into 50, 50, and then we'll know exactly. We need to estimate how much we end up with. So we
Yes.
So what
Yeah,
if
so-
We have
Smaller,
a fairly
smaller.
good strategy. Why don't we optimise the strategy we have by pairing each person up?
Yep.
Then you just time the step of the move. If you got the time in, then you get a continuous progress down the path.
we want to improve, right? 21 to 22 was an improvement, yeah? What if we just took 22 balls and put them on the table one at a time and everyone just came and touched each one and then put them in the basket? It doesn't say it can't be on a table, it says it can't be on the ground.
That's required.
Well, it says only one person can touch them at a time and you can't pass it touching both at the same time. But
20 seconds to make it
What
work.
you do, you have a high possibility.
Why did we give up on this idea?
Balls and go to the ground. That's a high possibility. If everyone starts touching the ball, we have to, I don't know, find a way to get the ball on the table. I think it's going to be harder because you
Another 5 people in the team, they can do another 30 balls and do it like that. So we'll divide into smaller teams. Each team will.
Alright, so your time is up to come up with a new strategy.
It's gonna be worse
So-
than the first one. Give you that much.
Adam, can I get the mic from you? So your time is up for your strategy. So you now have another 2 minutes to improve your score, which starts about now. So if you want to move, then you're gonna have to move.
Can we just drop those balls? Wait, let's do the strategy then. Put 22
Ready?
balls on the table.
That's not going to work. 2 groups. This group will do 20 and
Yeah, let's break it up into two. That's got to be the simplest way.
and then we'll come afterwards. We'll do the 20 again.
yeah, maybe someone around.
Guys, it is your second planning meeting.
Okay, this group and this group, right?
Come on, we need to start passing. I don't think we've got a better strategy than the first one, have we?
Your time is started.
You can sprint.
You can only do one at a time. You can only do
Nothing safe. Nothing safe.
2 teams? 1 team.
Now I know why software projects fail.
yeah.
Bloody hell, you need someone who's the boss. You need a dictator in this joint.
The other team can just.
Okay, let's go. Shake a leg.
Do it again.
Come on. Come on. It's a death march.
Hurry.
Oh, damn it. You've got to actually, you've got to drop.
Okay.
At least we're not dropping any this time. That's an improvement.
Yeah, drop it.
Hold. Hold.
So it's just a slight improvement on the original. So
Well, we're not dropping any. This is
didn't estimate that.
No CPU.
what?
Just add a CPU.
Yeah.
Get a bigger machine.
Yeah. We're on a 486 before.
This is waterfalls. Waterfalls.
I'm not that big, man.
Just waterfall down.
Now,
I know I'm touch more than 20. You guys have waited a lot for me, but
this is awesome. This feels like a much longer session than before.
My arms are sore.
Surely there's machines that can do this.
Stanley's going to be struggling.
We need a security audit by Troy, because I feel that there's
All
could
right,
be something.
time is up.
thanks, buddy.
69.
Whoa!
So, all right. So that's a triple improvement in just one iteration, right? So that's actually quite good. So we have somebody new who joined, so it's going to be interesting. You're going to have to explain to her what you're going to do, and you get another 2 minutes to get better. And I want to have an estimate at the end of the 2 minutes, and I'm going to start directly as soon as the 2 minutes stop, right? No double planning meeting this time, guys. We don't do that in Agile. So we're going to start it now. You've got 2 minutes, and it runs.
If we carry on rate the meeting and keep a consistent Candace, then we can kick off the speed. If we start at 70, our new friend will be able to pick up the system quite easily because it's very regular. We should be able to do the same number without any worry.
Well, that time we didn't drop any, so I feel that we could push more. We could be trying for 4 per time.
No, I think we should stick with 2, but we stay closer together.
No, but we could easily have 2 in each hand and we'll drop a few, but we were pretty good. We didn't drop any that second time.
Ball can only be
That's a lie. We had 69, we had to drop at least 1.
All of them just do like the ball.
That's exactly
Guys, is it what you want to discuss in the 2 minutes that you have?
Why don't we try on as one to start with, and if we drop too many, we'll go back to what works. But let's try the 2 balls in each hand. Okay.
And what's the estimate then?
The estimate is
if you're not
double.
120.
No,
We'll drop some.
120.
100.
110, just a bit less than double.
Adam, what did I teach you this morning? How does this work?
Oh,
That was an 80.
yeah. So he taught me how they do auctions in the Netherlands. And so
Spend our planning meetings.
probably not, but it was good. It was a good way of doing an auction.
So what is this?
All right.
So we're going to like move up from a 486 to a Pentium, and we're going to have 2 in each hand, and we'll just do exactly what we did, and we might drop a few. But I did notice, like, if Troy didn't do a security order, but there was some people just putting it straight in each other's hand. Is that allowed?
It has to have
No, he wasn't dropping; they were actually placing
We've
it.
only got 7 seconds before we're starting again, so we better get in position.
Time starts now.
We need more people this side. People are so, everyone is in that place. That's the problem. You guys should move more to this side.
You want to hop into this?
Quick! I think you should not say
What's happening?
Cadence. Someone sing us a song that we can do this to.
Oh, here we go. Golf is the work we go. Oh, no!
It's got to be 2. 2 is the maximum.
There's a city there called Sydney.
There's a city there called Sydney. People go there by accident. Yeah, you got to
Drop so many.
The middle of nowhere. It's freezing cold.
All right, so your time is up.
Time's up.
58. So
Too much planning.
it's not actually very bad, but the 3 balls at a time doesn't feel like a better version as the 2 balls at a time. So we're doing a couple of short plays with this, so you can actually keep doing this game after you started to do it in the way you did it. By the way, Adam, if you go on YouTube, there's a lot of people that end up with the hands one by one and just rolling all the balls. You can actually get a lot of balls from one place to the other. The only thing is that once they're in the basket, you have to count them, because you're going to have some spillage and it's going to be very hard to figure that one out. So what I'm hoping that you got from this is that we went from about 20 to about 60 in only 2 iterations, and that even though we tried a new technique, it didn't really work, but it also was as bad as many people might have thought at the beginning. So you can actually try different things, and this applies to your project work as well. And just try to change small things to the way that you work and improve over time and see which works and which doesn't work. Sometimes, though, you have to try it again. So you're going to play it once, and then you might feel this was an improvement, but we didn't. It was so different than the last time that we have to try it yet another sprint. So if we had enough time, we would actually be able to say, let's try this without any planning, do exactly what you did right now, and just try it again, because we can see if it gets better by doing it twice. Which is the same thing that you do during sprints as well. So what did you guys find happened during that retrospective and planning meeting?
Well, I found the most interesting part was the measuring, because I assumed, based on the wastage, that third one was that third one. There was so much wastage. I thought we'd gone back to near the first one. I didn't think we were close to the success of the second one. I was very surprised when the numbers were close.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I liked how Adam made a suggestion and everybody just ignored it and went back to what was comfortable.
Made a suggestion, everybody ignored it.
Yeah, it's like, so we didn't really get consensus at all, so nothing happens.
So did you guys find the real problem that was hidden in what was going on? Or did you just keep trying to change wild things all at once?
Wild things.
Wild things.
Change at a large scale and whatnot, and trying to improve in small iterations.
All right, so the third game we're going to do today is going to be able to kind of put some control in how you do retrospectives, and it might actually be able to highlight some of those things where you're going to see what's really working, what's holding us down, and then based on that come to a new plan. Now 2 minutes is very short, so we're going to keep practicing with very short sprints, which brings us to the next game. Everybody please grab a chair.
You want us to sit or hold the chair?
Hold the chair.
Oh,
Hold the chair. I read everything.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Nice to meet you, fellas. So we're not sitting on
It's got some grey hair these days.
You probably all know that inspection and adaption are two of the main pillars of Scrum. The third one is transparency, and transparency is not something that we're going to be touching a lot, except in the feedback that you're going to give each other, like, I gave a suggestion and nobody listened. So that's maybe something that we can try and work into our next time that we're going to do a repeat action. So normally I would ask a volunteer, but I kind of pre-briefed my volunteer. So will my volunteer please stand up?
We're all standing there.
Yeah, I know. So where are you? All right.
I think it was Harold.
So our volunteer is going to come with me, and that leaves one extra chair. So I'm going to ask you all to put a chair here in the room, randomly, facing in any direction, in such a way that every chair can be approached from at least one side. So you can't put a chair in a place where it's completely blocked off by other chairs. So let's first do that, and you get to place your own chair as well. So everybody please place your chairs and be careful with the wires.
Outside and might sit in a chair, so.
Making mine
All
hard
right,
to get to.
so everybody please hold on to your chair that you picked so that we can remove the chairs that are currently not occupied. All right, so we've got one chair over there. It's going to be out.
I guess
And
you can
that
put
chair as
those
well.
ones up against the wall.
All right.
Yeah, just
Okay.
fold them up against each other or something.
So, you as a group get one job, and that's to make sure that the volunteer doesn't sit down on an empty chair. Right? My volunteer's job is to sit down on any empty chair. The only way that you can block him from sitting down is to move and sit on whichever chair is empty. Right. No, you're only allowed to sit on one chair at once. And this is no contact sport, so no tackling, no throwing of the volunteer, no bondage, no other strange stuff around here in the building. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to come up with a strategy, like we did before, and we'll be out of the room. And after 2 minutes, I'm going to let him in, and you're going to have to make sure that he's not going to sit down. No, the chairs are now in a fixed position until further notice. All right, so you come with me, and you guys have 2 minutes.
All right, so you need to find the cornermost chair and leave that one open. When he gets close, sit in it, and everyone shuffles over. So then the furthest chair from him is still the one is now the one that's empty.
Or we just surround him in a ring. Now it's a no-contact sport, so he can't get past us if we loop around him. It's just people.
We only have to block him by sitting in a chair. That's one of the.
We can't form a wall.
Yeah. I'm happy to stand in front of the door. We could just stand there. Like, we don't need a wall.
But what if you put a chair in a corner and put all the other chairs in the
Well, we can't move the chairs now.
You can't move them anymore.
Yeah. All right, so we've got about 1 minute left.
Well, he's
what are you going to do?
improve. So let's try the first one first, and then later on we can try the cheap one. We'll just block him off.
Well, then the next iteration you do 2 lines of chairs, and that way it's really easy to shuffle up.
Yep.
So.
Excellent idea for the next round.
So let's go. Okay. Can you just recap your strategy so we can?
We just need to work out which chair is furthest from the door. Somebody who works here has not. Yeah, so over there, leave that one empty. Yeah. But somebody's standing near it. Yeah. We can leave multiple chairs empty and just sit as he gets close. Okay. All right. And so if we leave a couple of chairs empty, we fill most of them, we'll drive him to one point. And then we can just stand up and move quickly. That's my best idea.
Do we think it's going to work this time? Are we better off failing really, really quickly and then organising the chairs better for the second time?
We need to make sure that the chair that we leave empty is at the other end of this one, and then keep doing it. Yeah.
So we're going to run over?
No, I'll just be here, and then we'll wait for him to come, and when he comes, I'll go like this, and then you make sure you all shuffle this way. Yeah. Like if you have to move to leave one open at the end.
So let's sit down and identify the chair that we go to, depending on which direction we should be in there.
Everyone sit.
Yeah, that's not in play. This was his chair.
Yeah, you take his chair. Okay, so we want to take that chair.
Yeah. Okay.
Only one we've got this guy here. You need to shuffle.
That's 7 seconds.
That's a prop. That's not a chair? That's not in play.
He's a chair. It's not a chair, it's just a 4-leg.
Alright, so he's on a chair in 7 seconds. There is one too many chairs. So why wasn't that chair removed? Alright, so remove whatever chair is empty now.
Where's the one that you put over there?
If there was no empty chair, then your time starts now again.
All right.
No, that's right. Santiago, you said the wrong chair. There's no chair there.
There's no chair. He's just put it away. Hold on, we need to start again.
Let's start again. Everybody, where's the chair? There is no chair. So you didn't have an extra chair ahead?
We did. You put it away, Santiago. Thanks, man.
So now we have a chair again.
Move, Thomas. Move here.
So guys, that was 12 seconds. So it was a double over the 7 seconds before. I'm going to give you guys 1 minute to regroup and figure out what went wrong and to figure out how you can improve that. No, the stairs are still fixed.
Okay, chairs are still fixed, Tony.
I think we should change the position of the chair in a way to make it easier.
Unfortunately, it's not allowed to change the position of the chairs.
No, I just think the position has to be like, I don't know, that example, in an opposite side.
Everyone moves, then make the empty here.
Yeah, that's a good
When
point.
it comes to this side, then everyone moves to make the empty.
No, say it louder, say
Make the
louder.
empty always the two ends.
He has a good point, but you have to say louder.
Yeah. Look, I think we need to make the empty chair either this side or that side.
Yeah.
The problem is that you took the last one and you leave the chair, you can just grab it.
We need to be able to snake from one chair to the next instantly. So as soon as there's a gap of more than 1 foot between chairs, we're in a problem. So we need the chairs to be all close to each other so we can move from one chair to another really quickly without having to come across. So can we move the chairs around?
1 second 47.
It's sneaky.
Really good.
Time was up. Who's timekeeping?
You.
You guys are self-organizing teams. In Scrum, you need to make sure that you're always aware of what's going on around you guys. So, did you figure out a new technique?
Can we move the chairs now?
No. You can't move the chairs yet.
Dang
Did
it.
you guys come up with a new technique just now before you ran in?
Fail until we can move the chairs.
But
We can just try
we still can do what he suggests. We try to keep the empty chairs in the opposite side, and when someone moves, everyone moves. Sorry?
All right. So do whatever you wanted to do.
Oh,
because it's
even
time
though
for you.
I still haven't seen.
Maybe if we just have a strategy, you always move to the right, so you'll know that I'm here and he's leaving, I'm going here, not
Yeah.
you. So we'll like have a strategy of moving to the right, because that's really quicker. So we always fill up
Definitely,
the
but
right.
you can move the chairs.
Okay. Okay, so you
The
have
position-
a suggestion. Do you guys think that might work?
Yes.
All right, let's try it.
Okay, always move to the right. Take this position directly on your right.
But it's a problem, man. We are not organized enough to move to the right side. You're not well organized.
Just move clockwise.
Alright, so that was an improvement. You're now at 21 seconds, so that is better. So you are asking me to change the chairs. Why do you want me? Why do you want to move the chairs?
So everybody know where to move.
Right.
It's a better.
No, I think currently low and no, we look at it randomly, right, the chair,
Okay.
where the space. So like I say, this chair empty, so no one knows, so maybe he want to move there, I want to move there.
Yeah.
If we line them together, so everyone know exactly where you want to move next time.
All right.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to introduce some flow.
Yeah.
Yes. That sounds like a good plan. So you'll have 45 seconds to reorganize the room before he gets in.
Two rows.
We're all, yeah, we're all,
I think we have to put it, combine it.
we're all, yeah.
No, man, just put in that way.
Now we're going to lose that visibility.
Really?
That way he can't come in.
Yeah. Outside circle.
Face it in so he can't come in. That's it. Done. Done. No, face it in. Face it in. So he can't come in. Then he can't come in. How's he going to
No, he'll come in. That's a silly strategy. If he faces the outside, he can't run across the middle.
Get down, find your seat. Moving to the right.
All right, he's coming in.
He's coming in. He's coming in. Where's the free chair?
Quick. Quick. Oh, Santiago, guys.
Is he in the game?
Are you in the game? Are you in the game?
You came up with the idea. We didn't realize the game started.
What went wrong, guys?
We didn't realize the game started.
You didn't realize the game started. All
We
right.
weren't self-organizing.
Yeah. So who's timekeeping now?
I will.
You will timekeep. All right. Thanks, Chloe. You've got 20 seconds to finish up, and then he gets back into the room. So you go out.
Everyone find their chair.
Move those chairs a bit so that you can jump on them easier.
You should have the empty chair.
10 seconds.
Chairs where you are.
Stanley, make your chair the empty chairs.
We're going right or left first?
Let's go right first. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, stop. He's coming.
All right.
You have to. Go.
Blocking me.
Faster, man.
We're wearing down, son.
Oh, watch out, man.
All right. So I think you guys perfected this. Do you want to try one more experiment? Yes. All right. So I think you guys are so good now that you can handle 2 projects. Who wants to be my second volunteer? You want to be? All right. You guys get 1 minute to figure out what's going to happen. Now you get 2 empty chairs now. If anybody sits down on 1 empty chair, game's over.
1 minute, was it?
Yeah.
Alright, don't we just need to put an empty chair on each side?
Yeah.
Actually, you should separate in 2 teams as well. Maybe you'll make 2 circles or maybe 2 lines. We have to separate as well.
What if we just keep the 2 empty and then move around?
But you're gonna have 2 different points. Maybe 2 circles or maybe 2 lines.
Why don't we just do 2 next to each other? No, why don't we do the same thing with 2 circles? That's right, so we do 2 things. Yeah. 30 seconds. Two circles, 2 circles. Everyone pick up a chair.
But the circles have to be pointed to the center, otherwise someone else can cheat. I don't know. If you put it for outside, sometimes you guys, I don't know how to explain, but I think it has to point to the center. It has to point to the center.
Let's go.
Point to the
2 next to each other do exactly what we just did.
I think so. Exactly what we just did.
Yeah.
But 2 next to each other.
Crazy stuff.
Okay.
They can't divide it.
Maybe 41? Right. What happened, guys?
You changed the design halfway through.
You changed the design halfway through.
Communication problems. It's always the
It
problem.
is
Two
always
people,
communication.
not necessarily talk.
All right. So one of the things you're noticing is that a large team is very difficult to improve quickly. It's much easier to do with small teams. If you would try this with smaller groups, it's actually quite fun. One way you can do this exercise is to put 10 people outside, get 10 people in, have 10 people debate for 15 minutes how they're going to approach it, have one team try 5 times, and then see which one's best. You'll figure out that the team that had 5 tries and has spent exactly the same time debating probably has a much better version of it. This version with the 2 people, if you didn't separate into 2 circles, which was a very clever idea, by the way, probably never works. Yeah, because you have to divide your focus, and they can actually be focusing on the chair, which is kind of like the same thing as there's coming 2 production defects, and project manager doesn't care which one you fix first, but he wants them both to be fixed as fast as possible. Best way is to fix one, and then fix the other. But very often you'll see that people start working on the same problems at the same time. People will want to be able to test and deploy, and then just before you know it, everything just falls apart. So, I think you guys are warming up now. Let's calm down a little bit, and let's go into the 3rd exercise, which is a lot more relaxed, unless you guys come up with a very, very busy topic. I've got 3 boards. I've got one over there. I've got one over there. And there's one over there on the floor. And on it, you will see that we have a sailing ship. And so we talked about the fact that it's important to have a good retrospective, right? And that means that you very often need to look from different angles. So you need to look at kind of what people and processes and tools. That's quite easy. But then you probably need to figure out, is there something going wrong in the way that we approach it? Or are we going towards the wrong goal? Or do we actually know where we're going to go? Are there some hidden dangers on the road that we need to evade? Might be impediments that we can prevent from actually occurring. So these are important things that you need to be aware of as a team. So there is a technique which is called the Sailboat Retrospective, which gives you some, almost a coat rack that you can put on some of the different things. So I've got a stack of Post-its over there on the table, and I've got a bunch of pens over here. And are there people in the room that want to discuss a project or any situation work-related? Is there anybody here that has a situation from a former project or a current project that they could use as part of this?
What do you mean by situation?
It could be just about anything. A project that went wrong or something that you would like to kind of have a little bit of story around that you could try this technique on.
We just do it over the last two activities we just did?
Yeah, you can do it over the last two activities that you just did.
Right.
So you want to do one? Which one do you want to do?
The bowl one. Sure.
The bowl one. Who wants to do the chair one? Sure. Well, you're going to do the chair one. Is there anybody else that has something that they want to do? All right. So you're going to be dividing into two groups then. It's going to be two big groups. If anybody thinks of a topic, you can actually start at a different board.
What's an
or do you
example
have anything?
topic that you've had before?
So in many projects we see that it's hard to define where you actually want to go, so the goal is not really clear, or that you are running at the end of a project and you really need to get your release out and you're nearing the deadline and it's almost failing. So there might be a situation where you want to figure out what can we do to succeed, and what's the problems that we're going to face and when we're going to go ahead. And it can be a pretty hypothetical story as well if you want to put it. You've got one as well. All right, so you go with that board, you go with that board, and you go with the board over there. So you divide into teams. So with the boat, let's divide into teams first. All right, everybody, let's get. I have to tell you what you have to do with the sailboat, right? So Adam, you're kind of in the middle of the sailboat right now. On the boat, there's wind in the sails, and that's actually what's making us reach our goal. So this is the business drive behind it. This is the people that are helping us succeed. These are the things that are making us go faster. The second one is an anchor. You'll see an anchor drawn on the picture, and that's everything that's holding us down. The third one are the rocks, and we can't really see them unless we really peer down into the water. Those are the hidden impediments and the risks and the other things that might blow up right in our face. So that's where you want to focus on that. And the third one is Treasure Island. And Treasure Island is actually the goal that we want to reach. What is it that we're going to find at the end of this project, at the end of what we're going to do? What's coming out of this whole exercise is our treasure map. So we already know where the sailboat is, and we kind of have an idea where the treasure is, but how we're going to get there and how we're going to evade the sharks and all the rocks, that's what you're going to figure out. So by figuring out what's driving you and in which direction it's going, what's holding you down and how you might be able to remove that, figure out how to evade the rocks and what it is actually that you're trying to achieve, you'll be able to piece together your treasure map. So that's the exercise that you're going to do for 15 minutes together. And normally what we do is you write down your thoughts on the Post-its, everything counts, and you just place them either with the treasure or with the rocks. So it might be what's our goal. So very quickly get everybody to write down a bunch of Post-its and place them on it. Take about 5 minutes, and then discuss together if there's commonalities in there that you can actually use to piece together your treasure map. So go.
Accurate counting. I can't even spell.
So we need everybody touching the balls.
Wing. What would be the wing then?
Number of people supposed to be one.
So number of people, I think it's holding. It's the anchor. I think it's holding this down.
No, the software.
Musical chair.
That's terrible. It's upside down.
But I don't want every customer I have one set of software. And it's very hard to maintain. I have it I want to copy of software to maintain. And my team is, I have 4 developers in India. And they're very good developers, but they're very good at technical, but they don't really know much about the business. I have in Australia, and this is a wing.
It's the thing that's moving you forward, that's helping you reach your goal. Without the wind, you never get to the island.
Even though I sell this, you have to improve it. And that's the
all right.
challenge in the scenario.
Shall we go to another team? So Adam, which thing are you guys discussing?
We don't have any for the wind. we've only got anchors.
Only anchors.
I suppose the balls were light. Light balls, Mark's favourite.
We know you like the heavy one.
So the balls are light. That's a good thing because nobody's going to get hurt. It's not like the cricket balls and we'll chuck them.
That's a very positive way of saying
Exactly.
it. Shit could be a lot worse.
Exactly.
Could be bowling balls.
Just put that on the rocks for me.
What is that one?
No airtime.
Security risk. Yeah, no airtime.
Now you've got quite a few of them, you might be able to find some commonalities and figure out if you can find a new and better plan, how you would approach it next time. So this kind of gives you very quickly some ideas on how to put them on the board. Now try to figure out a better plan for next time, or you might present it to the group in a minute, how you would approach this next time if you had another try. Planning, execution, setup,
I don't think that's going to
depends on what you wrote down.
Maybe we could put like you've got a good team working in India, so enthusiasm or something, good resource. So that
I got a good skill. Yeah, that should be.
Dictator, who hears those top few.
I don't mind the idea of dictator. What if dictator got it wrong? I say everyone.
But the dictator heard the best few.
You get 10 seconds to throw your idea, and then people vote on that. And you just say, this is my idea, and then we just do that. Everyone just vote, and then whoever gets the most votes
having the
gets the
same
winner.
problem again. You have many ideas, you don't have no one to pick up an idea. If you have just one person to represent, I don't know, like a leadership, it doesn't matter. Maybe the person make the wrong decision.
At least
everyone is going
decision.
you're going to make a decision. Yes, you're going to have time to prepare to that thing.
So Ronald Reagan,
You have to decide
he
a
was
leader.
seen as the best
For everything.
president they had for a long time, and he said his system was he would be given a pile of papers every morning, and he asked for a yes, no, and so he'd read it and he'd say yes or no, and he'd make a decision on everything. He said that was the secret to my success. And then they said, so what if you got it wrong? And he goes, well, I'd see it on the newspapers and I'd change my mind. Yeah, that was his system.
Got another idea?
So sometimes you just need a dictator.
Someone each present your idea,
Selected.
and you vote using a scorecard voting system. Like just
No,
put up. So you put up a point system, and whoever gets the highest points, that way you can't sort of go be swayed by each other's ideas.
Yes, we could have just done a fist.
I think that'd be good
Or
if we had
fist.
time.
Yeah.
How much time do we have? We had 2 minutes, didn't we? I think by the time that system is in play,
Oh,
we've
yeah.
lost all that time, haven't we?
Yeah, agree. Maybe elect the leader, and then from that point onward, follow a few sprint, and then you can re-elect.
Maybe we could have said something like, anyone got any strong ideas? Maybe 3 people put their hand up. Okay, tell me your idea. Everyone good? Tell me your idea. Okay, stand next to the person you think has the strongest idea.
Oh, that might have been nice.
And then, bang, we follow whoever has the most people.
I like that.
When you said about playing to decide who idea you're going to pick up, it's the same of choosing randomly because everyone can win like doing that. Why not we just choose one person? If the person make the right decision, it's going to be randomly anyway because we don't care about the decision. You just need to make a decision. So you just need one person to make the decision. Make a good one, bad one.
That one person still has the problem of collecting ideas effectively, though, from a large group.
But if you do like this, you're done redundantly anyway.
You're saying cut down on the time. So you're saying the good thing is to have a decision, no matter what it is, but then to everyone to
because
go
our
with
problem is not maybe because of the decision, is to prepare to something. We have some good ideas, but what, we don't have time to change the chair. So what is the importance of the idea if you cannot appropriate it?
Okay, but that,
So
the chair is quite interesting because we initially had an idea. The guy had an idea, but then it changed. The plan changed. We flipped the chair last minute to face outward, and that turned out beautifully.
Yes.
If we were a dictator, all the chair would be facing inward.
But hold on a minute, his one solves like 2 problems. So one of the problems was time,
Right.
was it? And the other problem was organisation. With his one, he solves those 2 because you've got organisation because everyone follows the leader, and then 2, it gives you more time because you've got already got the person decided. We don't have to go through any decisions, we just basically say, let's follow him on the first one, and then afterwards we can change our mind afterwards.
But Mark's example is that we saw a problem right near the end and we switched it very quickly, where we might not have done that if we were following the dictator mindlessly.
I want to listen to him. He's raising his hands for a long time.
I think we're actually looking at this all wrong. The problem is get balls in the basket. So the first time we got 1 ball in. That's our baseline. Now the goal is to improve. We put 5 balls in. We've instantly increased by 5 times. The rule was simply to put balls in baskets. It didn't say we had to go hell for leather and do as many as possible. So we can slowly ramp up, improving our score with little to no additional effort.
So you're saying perform really badly
that's
and
right.
then perform slightly better each subsequent time. I like that. That's good.
So what I'm actually hearing him say is very similar, I think, to what you were saying as an outcome, which is done is better than perfect, right? Because we're coming at this, how are we going to get every single ball out of that basket into that basket, following those rules?
That is a good.
Yeah.
But he's quite
I
right.
don't think gaming the system is ever okay.
No,
That's,
but I don't
that's
think
unethical,
No,
actually.
but I think the point he's hitting is that we were trying to be perfect, whereas we should just try to get something on the board and then make it better.
No,
and
the
then
first
make it
time we
better.
didn't try to be perfect. We tried to do our best with chaos.
Exactly.
That's very different from.
We got both in
suggestion.
the bucket with chaos, with pure chaos. You can get it with pure chaos or with pure dictatorship. You're gonna get both in there somehow, unless you're completely retarded.
You're focusing in the
But
process.
not gaming the system, Mike.
But you're focusing in the product, not in the process.
There's one more thing.
Yeah, that's it.
With the actual time framing for this was 2 minutes. Right? There is for some tasks, it's just not enough. So at some point you have to say, you know what, we need 10 minutes for planning. Instead of
more time.
Instead of the 2 minutes.
So you're
Yes.
saying
Challenge the rule. I like it.
This rule is crap. Out of planning, for sprint planning, it wasn't enough.
Yes,
Right.
I like that.
So these are things that you can discuss, right? So these are changes that help you self-manage. That's good. The thing that you mentioned about failing, and failing often but fast to get results at, translates really well to software as well. You might be able to try 4 or 5 different things, let half of the balls drop, but still get quite a lot of the balls into the court, and that's a good result. So those failed experiments and those failed balls, if you look at software, try one direction. If it doesn't work, try in the other direction and see that it works. And if it saves you 2 weeks of analysis to figure out if A or B is best, there's nothing wrong with that. So as long as the end product, the balls in the basket, are perfect, they've had airtime, everybody touched them, then that's not really a problem. So as long as the end thing that you're doing is perfect, it's allowed to have some waste as long as you're learning from that waste, and that's the important bit of it.
So what you're saying is do something rather than spend the whole time talking about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So let's regroup.
But
All right.
that's exactly what I say. If you choose a leader, the way of choosing leader is stopping thinking and doing. Because the leader is going to say, do it. It's just in a way to make people do something.
What if the leader's an idiot?
Yeah, but leaders idiot.
But the point is not about the goal. Is not the leader. It's the goal is not losing time discussing things.
I think we need a faster
What we
mechanism
discussed
of
it here is the same what I said, because the point is doing more than preparing. My idea about the leader is when the leader say do it, we are not going to discuss. We are just going to do.
I agree
The
with
figure of
you.
the leader
I
is just
agree with
an
the principle.
image. It's just an image. I don't care about the leader. It's just an image.
I agree with the of faster decisions.
I'm wondering if you guys have found the same thing. So it is important that with the things that we are trying to improve and the things that we want to do better.
How about I just tell the example before
Yeah.
you...
Oh, you've got a mic, right?
Yeah. So when you learn a lot of the principles of Scrum in your professional Scrum Master, how many people are a professional Scrum Master? We got one. Okay, not too many. But there is the story about, or the exercise that you have to pass, and it's about the squirrel burger. And essentially, the story is about someone who is trying to get some burgers out, and they've got one burger left for the night, and they're out of burgers. There's a squirrel that's just carked it outside, and what do you do from that point? Now, it's kind of a bit of a left of centre type of exercise you have to do, and I won't get you to do the exercise, but I'll tell you the executive summary. The option of fulfilling the order is really only achievable in the exercise by getting the dead squirrel, cutting it up, and putting it on the hot plate, and putting in the burger and giving to the customer who would know no difference. All right, is that okay? Why not?
Business risk.
Business risk. Yeah. Yeah. So David has essentially got it nailed very quickly, but when you're in the heat of trying to complete the exercises, you will do something where you're not qualified to do. as a person serving a burger, I do not have the authority to take on a massive liability for that company by serving them a burger and potentially being sued for millions for that company for being essentially unethical. And this is Scrum, one of Scrum's ethics tests. I bring that up because there was a few examples throughout the night where we thought, all right, I'll tell you what we'll just do. To achieve this exercise, we'll block the door so the person can't come in. Or to achieve this exercise, we'll just put 3 balls in the basket. There was lots of different examples, and the next time we'll just put 4, and we'll game the system. That type of stuff would make you end up failing the PSM, or the CSM in your case.
Yeah. So what we normally do with the ball game, if we see that people are causing a lot of waste, we start to subtract the waste from the result. And if it's really a lot of waste, we double the waste because it was in the system and it reduced everybody's productivity so much that we're going to try to reduce that, which requires you to change your tactics again. So there are some ways that you can tweak the games as you're playing it if you see that teams are going in the wrong direction. The fun thing about this with the games is that there's no actual customer at the end receiving the end product. So it's a really good way to play with the teams and to get that message across by actually letting them try and then explaining to them what it actually means that it just did and translating it back into a business scenario just like you just did. So that's a way that you can use these kind of games as well to create some awareness. We have one last game coming up tonight because I promised you guys Legos and he ordered lots. So this is actually a very fun exercise to teach people how to do Scrum. We're doing the hyper short version of it, but if you have the time, it takes 2 hours to do the full exercise. If you want to do this with a team of 5 or 6 people, all you need is a large box of Legos, a bunch of Post-its, and a whiteboard. So we're going to flip that whiteboard over because I've got a little backlog for 4 teams. You guys get to self-organize into 4 teams, but you are going to be building one big Lego city. So we've got a commercial district, we've got a residential district, and we've got a university district. And Charlotte, help me, do we have a harbor district? Yep, we've got a harbor district. So we've got 4 districts for you guys that are making up the whole city. I want you guys to do that in 3 sprints. And the sprints are all 3 minutes to plan, 7 minutes to sprint, and 5 minutes to review. And you're doing that with the individual teams. Since we are with such a large group, you guys get to pick a Scrum Master that doesn't really have to build, but is going to be facilitating those retrospectives. And if there are, there's a number of certified Scrum Masters in the room, might be a good idea for you guys to pick up that role and help your teams get better at this. So we're going to do 3 sprints to build that. I don't know where, the Legos are behind me. So every team gets 2 boxes of Legos. And as soon as we flip the board over, you know exactly what to build. Now, these 4 parts of the city need to have a few things in common. So you guys need to figure out what a story is in size. So you're going to be building 1, 2, or 3-story buildings. If one team builds them this and the other builds them that, it's not going to work. So there's a couple of things that are cross-team that you have to figure out. There's ferry stops between some of the different parts of the city. If your rivers do not align or connect, those are not going to work either, right? So there is some stuff that you do need to figure out that's outside of the context of your own team. That's the fun of doing this game with such a large group. So form into 4 teams, grab 2 boxes of Legos, and go and stand at one of the tables.
I actually turned it off while you were speaking.
All right.
We yellow, guys. Team A.
Team A.
Anybody that happens to be over here.
All right. Team B.
Team B.
C. And D. I have a backlog over there. I am your mayor. If you have questions about how you want to lay out things, you can ask it of me. Normally when we do this exercise, there is a 20-minute discussion up front to figure out what my requirements actually are. Since we're short on time and we want to deliver this project, you're going to have to improvise a little bit. And you'll probably, during your retrospectives, figure out that there are some issues with starting without very clear requirements. So the requirements are on the board, and you've got 3 minutes to plan, 7 minutes to sprint, and 5 minutes to do your retrospectives. We're going to do that 3 times.
And your timekeeper?
Let's go have a look and see.
You have a Scrum Master.
Oh, we have a Scrum Master.
That's what I'm saying since the beginning, man. I'm saying since the beginning, we need to find a leader. You know what's funny about the leader? The leader doesn't need to be the person who makes the best decision, but it has to be a person, you know, it has to symbolize something, and you're going to save more time because everyone's going to follow his decision, and you're just saving time. You're just losing time all the time thinking, I have an idea, I have another idea, so I have no one to follow.
It really helps to have a facilitator, right?
It really does. To frame everything in context.
The biggest point here that I have to realize that we are wasting time making decisions, and when we have the decision, you don't have time to make it. If you had someone, it doesn't matter it's the best decision or not. The person just made the decision, so we have time to prepare. So you're going to be prepared.
Are these like the districts?
Yeah, this is what we have to build.
No, but are they from the same districts or?
No, we're Team C. We're Team C.
That's one district.
We are building Team C, and then we're going to link it with other teams, I guess. That's not what I want. Don't want to hear. Stupid thing.
So do we just want to take it?
He's our expert Scrum Master.
Got to park us. Got a road parking.
So do you guys want to build one as well? And we're ready to start. Sounds good?
Cover that off. Just said that. Yep. Good.
Cover it off. So you guys want to build one first so we can make sure we've got...
What? 4 blocks high. It's pretty standard for Lego height.
Awesome.
In two-story building, of course we can do the one and after that two, we can iterate one after another.
Why don't we divide it into 3 groups so each group focus on each building?
Okay. But buildings are related to each other.
So I've actually already gone and talked to all the teams and standardized this being the standard measure for one story. I've gone in liaison with every other team already.
Thank you for electing yourself as Scrum Master, sir.
Thank you. So we have... And actually,
so there's a 1 story height.
Yes. What is this? What is supposed to be this? Sorry.
I need to be the road man, but I have no idea how to do it.
Yeah. Well, I've confirmed what 1 story is. So now we all ask how many stories.
What are you building? Now, you can draw the roads on the paper.
I suggest that when we
That's where we put the city.
I suggest when we build our
Paper, are we?
how do I communicate with you guys to listen? I suggest that when we've built what we think we've built, we get it checked by the person with the most Lego experience. Is that you?
I think so.
Okay, because I've never built anything with Lego.
How many stories is a park?
And
What's that guy first?
And then after we've had it checked by our Lego technical expert, then we put it on our paper.
I have no idea.
Alright? And I'm going to liaise with Chris as the first example. I'm building a fire brigade so that you will come in here, I'll keep this open, and the rest will be...
Excellent.
It doesn't have to be covered, does it?
I would say cover would be a good idea.
No. I don't have enough pieces.
That is very good.
Can we just build everything off the map first and then place it later?
Yeah.
Yeah? Let's just do a quick... Let's build...
No camera! No camera! You signed a contract.
If you're making one house, you need a
Tell me what bus stop is. Can you ask him? Of course you do. Sorry? He drove it, right? No, just coming up with something like a draft or draft of the town.
Okay. Where do the roads go between?
I've said I'm not going to do the...
That's what I'm trying to find out. Like,
I have no idea what's going on.
Alright, there's a really odd one-story park. I don't know what you expect from a park. Is it an abstract city? Seriously, like, let's...
Do you need more green, do you?
I think I need green for the park, yeah. Give me all the green.
What did he say the park's got to look like?
He didn't.
Why? Did you ask him?
I did. Like, how,
What did he say?
I asked how many stories is a park, and he said one.
Okay.
So I'm building something that's 1 story high.
So that's not 1 story, is it?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a story, isn't it?
I would have thought 1 would be a story.
No, he came back earlier on and he said that a stack of 4 was how tall 1 story was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently he agreed with all the team. He was just going to find out where we should put... Where are we putting the rivers?
So that's the thing, every team has a different way of laying the page out. So some teams don't even have their page out yet.
What? But we don't have page either.
So Chris, I've never done Lego before, but I'm very proud of my fire engine.
Yes, there's a test pass, Adam. There's a test pass.
Oh, look at that.
Just the test pass.
Now, I know you did ask for it to be closed, but I ignored that because I still think that's quite okay.
That's okay.
This is my bus stop.
Alright, so I'm done. I'm resting.
What did he say about
Sorry,
the
mate.
My fire engine.
When it's rained,
This is my fire engine.
the bus
you might want to have
well.
You need a roof then.
I'm trying to do the roof, but I'm trying to find...
Hey Jesse, I did the fire brigade. This is my first Lego thing I've ever made.
I need a roof.
You did? Yeah, I was a disadvantaged kid and never did Lego. And then I had girls, so I never got to do Lego again.
They've got pink Legos.
Yeah, I know, but I said I probably that too.
If my kids aren't studying, my wife's not interested, so they're not allowed to do Lego.
Teach them Scrum using Lego.
What about
They know Scrum already, they do family meetings once a week.
So Adam is doing family meetings using Scrum.
I'm gonna collect our stuff. We need 4 one-story building and 3 two-story buildings.
Okay, so that's 4
So that's almost 10 stories in total. So we just build like 10 of this, and we can combine them into what we make. 2 by 4.
Everybody, your first 10 minutes are up.
Okay.
So which team has got a piece of the city that's done and they can demonstrate what they built? Adam, you've got something, so tell me.
I have a highly engineered fire brigade, and it has a nice opening for a large fire truck, and it's sturdy as all hell. Look at that. It's a piece of engineering.
All right, and what's the building next to it?
That one?
This is the
I wouldn't have a
police
clue.
station. It's a police station.
It's a police station?
Gone with a multicolour to promote welcomeness to the police force.
Blue and white. Yeah, do it again.
He didn't say that for white. He said it had to be big enough to support the whole city.
I think you're right. I'd like the blue and white with some of the bits of yellow in it that you guys have in Australia for the police station. That's not going to work. And
That's going to work.
something else that I'm seeing is that it's got a higher level than the fire brigade.
Oh, shivers.
So
that's bad.
How did that happen? So please remember that that's not done.
That's not the code.
We have lack of peace.
The supermarket's the same, mate. Yeah, the supermarket's the same, mate.
All right.
Is this alright for the supermarket?
Compared
It's got no doors because we heard that the other people are thieves.
Can we stick a roof on the fire station?
No.
Probably here because there's a bar and hospital. We got.
What is this?
I'm concerned that the bus stop.
We got the Brazilian building.
It's added another level.
You made it.
I got a check by him. The product owner said I could go 1 story higher.
Really?
I looked at all your work. I looked at the work on all the tables. Why are you guys building there? Guys,
David.
let's review. You are building. Are you building during your Scrum sprint review, or you're coding and then deploying right to production?
If you like.
Does that sound like a good idea?
No.
No, okay, so let's not do it here as well. Let's make sure that, one of the things that you guys found during the Sailboat is that you should spend the time that you have on the topic that you have it for. So if you have review, make sure that everything you do is correct and that you learn from it, and that when you do planning, which you're going to do now, that you're not half already building and half are planning. But let's make sure that we come up with a plan to make sure that something that happened there doesn't happen. Because all the buildings were not good, and it turns out that they built something they didn't ask for.
And it looks like an abortion.
Yeah, and something else that I noticed is that you all have bus stops, but you all made different bus stops, and that the bus stops are no legal bus stops because they have to have one of those poles with a little sign that says bus stop. It's the same in Holland as it is here in Australia. If there's no sign, bus doesn't stop. So make sure that if you have similar things, that they look the same, because you are building one city, you are building one product. So I'm going to give you another 10 minutes, 3 for planning, 5 for execution, to come up with your next sprint. And I would like to hear at the end of the planning what you're going to build this time, so that you can actually finish it and show how it connects to the other team. All right, let's do that.
All right, I think we need to introduce a scrum of scrums. So we have one member from each team talking and checking.
We are across.
You're doing the scrum of scrums?
Yeah, we've always done that.
Oh, great. Well, that's fine. You should have communicated that down level to...
Well, scrums are scrums are scrums, my friend.
I got to tell my team I'm recognizing an impediment with myself.
You're just building for no reason.
I'm actually enjoying the technology so much because I've never played with it. I only care about my thing and I don't care about anybody else's. And I don't know why I feel like that, but I do.
But it's okay, you know. This is about learning. This is good. And we need to clarify whether we need a
So beautiful. It's just beautiful. I mean the lines are just so clean. It really is beautiful, Raj. This is like North Shore Lego. What I need is more beige. More beige.
We have a stove on the boat if you care to have it.
We have
Residential.
Then one road that goes around it, like that.
River. Is it like that?
Have to be,
Lego master. Yeah, that's one more.
It's because this one is small. You can fit it? We'll be okay. Okay. Just one more.
Yay, ferry.
Yeah. Okay, we have all ferries.
Okay, cool. Why 2?
on the city plan.
Oh yeah, there's an M at the top. So if you're looking at it from there, you see an M.
Just put 2 red ones on the side and you're done.
Oh, geez. Okay, I see more.
You're kidding. That says M.
Okay, we'll do it.
Good enough?
We'll do it.
Yes, good enough.
No, it needs to be all around.
You can clearly see there's an M. You're only going to be seeing this building from the front.
He's going to fix it. You have little under a minute left to make sure that your buildings are on the city plan.
3 yellows.
That's definitely a rejection.
Yeah.
Where was that?
But he's fixing it.
There's more yellows.
Do you know how to do it? Yeah. All right. I
How are you guys doing?
I'm exasperated the product and I don't want to work for it.
Make sure that it's. I think you guys are building one big integrated product. You've got 30 seconds to make sure that whatever is actually finished ends up on the city plan. You guys as well? And we've got,
Can I take, please?
We've got 20 seconds left to make sure that the buildings that are actually finished are on the city plan.
Where's the how's this bus stop coming? You can bring on the bus stop has to be the same as the next door.
So, as a question to the cameraman, do you like these interactive sessions?
I do very much. I wish I was the one playing with Lego.
All right, people. All right. So, this is the end of the second sprint. All right. So let's look at your finished product and see what you have delivered. I heard that there is now one integrated product to be demonstrated, so that's good. So, what is it that we have?
Serious straits. So effectively, we've all planned out what the lay of the land is. Over the next sprint, we're going to get people to bring over their buildings and place them on the now integrated town map.
Someone took it out.
Okay.
What happened?
That's no, I don't know who that belongs to.
Who's A? Oh, there it comes.
Yeah, there's A. Okay, so now we have an integrated town map. We can bring our buildings on in the next sprint, so we can match them up and then build this lovely town for your people, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so how did you guys do this? Was this all teams together kind of formed a 15?
Yes, the team of central planners with an elected member from each team brought together to nut this out.
It's actually quite cool because you guys self-organized into a 5th team. I think you tried to do a Scrum of Scrums, but it turned out to be a Scrum of Scrums for the full duration of the sprint, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to do a Scrum of Scrums in 7 minutes. But I find it really cool that you guys self-organized into a 5th team. You're allowed to do those kind of things. You guys are almost finished with quite a few of that stuff.
I'm worried that it's not going to fit onto the space that they've drawn.
Oh, that's also going to be interesting. But
we'll get there.
It is not on there. So is it done?
No, not yet.
Oh God. So what do we do in Scrum with stuff that's not done? We don't present it at the sprint review.
We do if we've still got time at the end.
Lots of dollars.
So,
to be fair, we didn't know you were gonna
Adam, do you want to repeat that with Ken listening?
No.
No.
Ken would say that the product owner's job is just to inspect the increment so he knows what's in the increment. But I still think if you've done that, then after that you can look at what's in progress.
Okay. But not with all the stakeholders looking with you, right?
Maybe not.
Yeah. So I might actually do that with you when we start again with the 3rd sprint, which is going to be the last sprint. So this is going to be your last sprint to come up with the finished plan. Does anybody have any feedback on the stuff that's currently on the plan? So what is it that we've got? I think we've got a church with a bell tower on top of it, right?
Yeah. So this is Team C. We put down 2 two-story building, 2 one-story building, and a church.
Okay.
On the plan. Yeah.
So you guys are the residential area?
I believe so.
All right.
We're meant to have an intersection on ours.
You need to have an intersection on yours.
Team B.
Okay.
It'll get there.
You'll get there.
All right. All right. And we have a river, so that's cool. Okay.
Very polluted river. Grey sludge.
So everybody is walking right now, aren't they? Because we don't have any buses and ferries yet.
Where are the ferries? Oh, the river.
Okay. So for the next sprint, top priority is to finish what you started and get that on the board. Get one finished city, and to make sure that everybody can get around to all the different parts of the city. So that is what I'm going to give you as your goal for the next sprint. For me as a product owner, you might have additional goals for yourself, and I'm happy for you to discuss that. And I would like you guys to finish up this Lego city, and then we're going to have pizza.
How about we just build something that looks like it'll be big enough?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah?
So you can actually plan for something a little bigger, because afterwards we're going to make this into a much larger city.
Right. And do you want your daycare to be multiple stories or just one? Or
one story. We don't want to
story?
have children falling off balconies and that kind of stuff.
All right. Single story, pretty colors, big enough, and able to expand.
And an outdoor area.
And the outdoor area.
Yep.
Secured.
Yep. Perfect.
All right. Thank you.
Chris, we need to draw an intersection on here as well.
Okay. So in 3 minutes, guys, in 2 minutes, I'm going to call you over, and you'll draw an intersection then. That way we can draw it once everything's on the board.
Bring yours over when you're ready. No, we don't.
It's already been drawn. Yeah, because somebody from your team took the...
Yeah, we're bringing it back now.
Are we drawing it again? He said there's not going to be enough space. Where is the bus stop go?
Okay, so...
We just leave it aside as continued picture, right?
Bus stop.
Yeah. This is the standard pole, yeah?
But two bus stops in the same place?
Got to move on the other side.
Okay, that's fine.
Might just move this door around here so it's facing the park.
It's facing the road.
Oh, it's supposed to face the road?
Yeah, that's
road.
road.
Don't have that.
No, this one needs
the car park's coming,
to go here because the car park's coming, yeah. Do you want to get all the sticky notes and put them next to everything?
Car park.
Car park, mate. Brilliant. There we go, we're done. We need an intersection now.
So the intersection.
Chris, we need an intersection.
So what is this?
If an intersection is required, does that then join the roads and make them no longer 2 roads?
Yes, I'm willing to do that for this sprint. So we had 2 separate roads last sprint.
Yes.
We're going to add an intersection now.
Okay, excellent. So, I now have to walk over.
That's A. What are you looking for, D?
You have 3 minutes on the clock. If you need to bring stuff over, start thinking about it. Sorry, I was timekeeping as well. So we're going to put an intersection joining here to here.
Alright, do it.
Okay, fine, do it.
Cool.
Go.
Right intersection.
Right there.
Right intersection.
What do you mean right intersection? Just write the word.
So he knows what it is.
These have got road written on them. Oh, you don't know the bridge.
You don't have bridge there.
Oh.
Yes.
So guys, which buildings are there in the ravine?
What ravine?
There's a ravine right next to the river.
Right, yeah.
Last stop.
Parking lot.
Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that.
Good job, Team 5. We did this.
I need to do bus stop.
It's beautiful.
Your team was pretty
The station got rejected.
Awesome.
Wasn't.
The police station.
Yeah, it wasn't blue and
My
white.
bus station wasn't. My bus stop wasn't any good either.
You have to rebuild it though.
Yeah.
Was it largely improved?
Yeah. Well, I made sure it's consistent with the rest.
That's my parking lot. You can see my parking lot and my tree. I'm very proud of my tree and parking lot.
The tree does look quite nice. It looks
does.
a bit better than my bridge. I'm not actually so sure about my bridge.
The red bridge?
No, the bridge is the closest thing over here.
The best one is that hospital.
The red one's my
The best
key.
one is that hospital. I just can
hospital
see, and that's a hospital,
That
right?
looks like
The
a-
white with the red one.
Cemetery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cemetery? No.
I think the hospital's got a little hole in the roof that they can drop the patients in from the helicopter.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, the best way to arrive in a hospital.
You need sunlight to survive in the hospital.
Oh,
You
it
need
is?
it's the skylight. Otherwise, you're going to not get the vitamin D. Everyone's going to die. That's saving lives
It's an
right there. That's
eco-city.
actually saving lives.
That is very important to know. All right. And I think we are done, people. So, I think a lot happened in the last sprint. I see the final post-its moving on the board in the back over there. People are figuring out what was done and what wasn't. I think we finished almost everything, which is good. I'm not sure if I, as a mayor, have personally approved all the buildings that were done, but I think I did approve most of the designs, which is a good thing. A lot of you came to me with questions. So I really wonder about the daycare. Who built the daycare? So where is it? It's right there. All right. So can you explain to me what we did?
Yeah, so the requirement on the daycare was bright fun colors. And it had to have an outdoor area that was enclosed so the kids wouldn't run away, I guess. And a single story, so it couldn't be two-story, it had to be single story, so no stairs for the kids. And that was pretty much the spec, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the end result was this little fella here, which has basically a one-story building with two doors and a little pen around the back. That's where the kids play out the back.
All right.
And there's
and
our
right next
daycare,
to the
mate.
park. Good. It's good. All right. And we had something interesting coming on as well because we had two roads and the roads were not connected. And then we had an intersection that had to be built. So who can tell me something about the intersection?
These two roads here.
All right. So now we have two actually connected ring roads, which is good. All right. So fun thing about this is you've worked in 3 sprints. And first sprint didn't go so well. And the second sprint went much better. And I find it really interesting that you split off the extra team. And I think that you guys kind of kept on a team that was making sure that everything integrated well, which is a pattern that we see a lot with large groups of people working together, that there's a couple of people that actually help everybody to do the integration work. So that's a common pattern that we see quite a few times. So any other observations? What about the sound level?
It was loud.
It was so loud that I just sort of tuned out. Really, it was like white noise in the background.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, it's really interesting. It's something that we see a lot when we do the Scrum courses as well, with the professional Scrum developer course. We see that the teams are working so close together that the noise level goes up incredibly, but it doesn't suffer with the quality. So how many of you are in office gardens where there's lots of people and where everybody kind of tends to keep quiet because it's interrupting others? I see a number of hands being raised.
We don't really
It stifles communication. I believe it stifles communication at the moment. I think those garden environments stifle communication. People are frightened to talk because it's loud. It's like now.
Yeah. It's something that we see that team rooms and smaller areas where people can self-organize into, they're working much better than very large office gardens. Or if you have multiple teams that are working together and everybody is allowed to make noise and there's not a few people in there that really want to work solitary, then that also works pretty well as well. So it doesn't have to be one room, it can be larger, but then you need to make sure that everybody is kind of in the same type of work that you're doing.
A compressed time frame where you're doing Lego.
Yeah.
A compressed time frame where you're doing Lego is far different to when you're trying to nut out how to do massively paralleled, complex interactions and locking and blocking and so forth.
Yeah. So even if you're working in small teams and you're working in loud rooms, it helps if you have a few areas where you can move into to do those important jobs where you just need to focus really hard. But I do find it that once you need to get review or you need everybody else to look into all the brilliant stuff that you did, and you can come out of that little shell and make sure that everybody kind of gets their say and to be able to really discuss about it out loud. Yeah. So, any other things that you guys found?
I found it difficult to approach another team because they were very focused on their task. So when I tried to say something about the bus stop, and I know that the bus stop was different to all the others, but it was really difficult to say stop and look, your bus stop is wrong. Because
yeah, that's also something that we see quite often in real projects. And the horrible thing is that if by sprint review, I as a mayor see that it's wrong and will reject the bus stop, or say, oh, that bus stop looks so much nicer and reject the other 3, then then we get to more slices of pizza and beer, right? Yeah, that's not fun. So this is important if you're talking about open and honest communication and transparency. It's really important that you have kind of those communication channels even between the teams, and that you're working as a whole on a common goal. So you guys were building one city, or we're not just building 4 districts, but you were building one city. So even though you had your own district that was your center of expertise, your feature area, so to speak, if you're talking about a real product, you're still building one product at the end. So it's important that teams maybe actually have like a scrum of scrums that was done in the 2nd sprint, in the 3rd sprint, to use that to make sure that everybody does, or use something like a community of practice. I found it a lot of fun to play games with you guys. I hope you guys found a lot of fun and lessons in the games as well. So we did the very compressed and short version of each and every one of those games. So I dare you guys to all try out the games in the different projects that you're doing, the different clients that you go to, the companies that you work for. And as you saw, sometimes these games only take 20 minutes. So if you come back after lunch and you look around you and you see all people yawning and being very tired, it's actually very fun to do one of these. Right after lunch is usually when we try to inject one of these games into the Scrum courses as well, just to get everybody energized again. It is interesting to see what other people will do when you start running around chairs in the middle of the office. I've had people coming from different floors trying to figure out if we were doing an emergency evacuation, or if there was something crazy going on, or the building was falling apart, trying to figure out where all the noise was coming from.
I was wondering if you could make a few comments about how you would apply these or ensure that this, I think it was good teamwork between the teams. How would you ensure that that happens or help that happen in situations where your teams are remote or people in the teams may be remote from each other?
Yeah, so that is difficult, especially also with the games, because a lot of these games have a physical product that integrates, but they also highlight some of the things that go wrong. So I don't have any games that I've played. I'm not sure if anybody of the others that are here that raised their hands at the beginning already played these kind of games to make sure that something like that happens. To get a lot of team communication, it's very important that I feel that they meet often in physical as well. Every couple of weeks, get together, if for a day or maybe at the start of a project, or every large milestone, preferably at the start, not at the end when everything's already integrated and broken. And make sure that you have a lot of communication channels. One of the things that I'm currently working on with one of my clients is to get a doorbell into India. So we are not allowed to have a permanent camera between 2 locations. Due to all kinds of policies and regulations. What we're trying to do is build a doorbell on the wall, and as soon as you press the doorbell, bell rings on the other side, 2 people walk into the room, and that's when you turn on the camera. But it's kind of different from actually calling somebody, and the doorbell is actually going to be in the team room on the other side of the world. So it's a very convenient and a simple way to get communication going. So try to think outside of the box. Try to think of some of those simple things. Actually getting a bell to ring on the other side of the world is quite easy over Ethernet and USB. And pushing one button here and doing something there as well. We're all engineers. We know how Azure works. We know how .NET works. Actually building something like that is a fun project for the weekend. And that's something that might actually help with those kind of things. And I thank you all for coming.